I met David in an online chat room. He seemed like a typical teenager, friendly, funny, and with a shared love for video games. We struck up a conversation about our favorite titles and soon became gaming buddies. Our interactions were innocent at first, just harmless discussions about strategies and gaming updates. As days turned into weeks, I found myself spending more time online, and David was always there. He was a great listener and had a knack for making me laugh. We even exchanged pictures. He was a good-looking guy with shaggy brown hair and a friendly smile. I was happy to have found a friend who shared my interests. But beneath the surface of our seemingly innocent conversations, there was something off about David. It started with the subtle hints, the occasional remarks that made me uncomfortable. He'd say things like, "You have a great smile," or, "I bet you're even more beautiful in person." I brushed it off, thinking he was just being friendly. One evening, as we chatted about an upcoming game release, David asked me a personal question. "Do you live alone?" I hesitated before typing my response. "Yeah, I'm on my own in an apartment." "Wow, that must get lonely," he replied. "I'm always here to keep you company." That message sent a chill down my spine, but I tried to rationalize it as him just being overly friendly. He seemed like a nice guy. Maybe he was just a little socially awkward. Our conversations grew increasingly personal. David wanted to know everything about me, where I lived, where I worked, even my daily routine. It was as though he was trying to map out my life. One day, as I was chatting with David about my weekend plans, he dropped a bombshell. "I live in your city too," he said. "Wouldn't it be cool if we could meet up and grab a coffee?" Panic set in. How did he know where I lived? I had never shared any personal information that could pinpoint my location. My heart raced as I typed back, "I'm not comfortable meeting in person. Sorry." He replied, "I totally understand. Just know that I'm a really nice guy and I'd never do anything to hurt you." The assurance didn't make me feel any safer. Instead, it intensified my paranoia. I decided to confide in my best friend Sarah about the strange turn our online friendship had taken. She urged me to block David immediately, but my curiosity got the better of me. I wanted to know more about the person behind the screen. That evening, as I continued chatting with David, I asked him more about himself. He was vague, saying he worked from home and had a lot of free time. He skillfully avoided giving out specific details about his life. My unease grew, but there was no concrete reason to report him to the authorities. I had to gather more information to confirm my suspicions. Over the next few days, I became increasingly vigilant. I searched the web for any clues about David's identity. My determination paid off when I stumbled upon a social media account that shared the same profile picture he had shared with me. The account was named David Ward, but there was something strange about it. There were hardly any friends listed and the photos seemed staged, like stock images rather than personal snapshots. The profile had only been active for a few months. I decided to reverse search his profile picture, and what I found sent shivers down my spine. The image was linked to various profiles with different names: Tom, Chris, Brian. These profiles were connected to countless forums discussing online predators. It was as if David had been masquerading under multiple identities, targeting different individuals. My fear was now mixed with anger. This wasn't just a case of a lonely guy seeking friendship. David was a predator, preying on unsuspecting victims. I contacted a friend who was a cybersecurity expert, and together we attempted to trace David's location using his IP address. It was a risky move, but we wanted to unmask him. As we delved into the technical aspects, I noticed something odd. My screen suddenly went black, and I lost control of my computer. A chill ran down my spine as I realized that David might have detected our efforts to uncover his identity. With my computer compromised, there was no choice but to disconnect it from the internet. I couldn't let David infiltrate my life any further. I reported the incident to the local authorities and provided them with all the information I had gathered. They assured me they would investigate the matter. Days turned into weeks, and the anxiety of not knowing who David really was consumed me. I was living in constant fear, watching my back every time I left my apartment. Then, one evening, the police called. They had made an arrest. David wasn't his real name. He was a man named Richard Collins. He had a history of online harassment and was wanted in several states for cyberstalking and worse. My report had played a crucial role in leading them to him. I was relieved, but also haunted by the knowledge of how close I had come to danger. David, or rather Richard, had been watching me closely. He knew where I lived and likely had plans to make our online connection a terrifying reality. As I looked out the window, I couldn't help but feel like a survivor of a digital nightmare. It was a chilling reminder of how the line between the virtual world and reality could blur in ways that are equally thrilling and terrifying. I had escaped the clutches of a predator, but I would forever remain vigilant, knowing that not all online connections are what they seem. Unmasked and exposed, the virtual world could be as perilous as the darkest corners of reality.